My previous video lesson was about cultural control methods used in plant disease management. Today, I'll be briefing up about chemical controls in plant disease management practices. Hi everyone, Dr. Kavita Sagar welcomes you for today's video lesson. Come on, let us start. So there are a varied range of chemicals which are available in the form of fungicides, nematicides, bactericides, herbicides, etc. in market. So these eradicants basically they kill the pathogen in soil or any on vegetative parts or on seeds. Protectants they act as a barrier between the host and the pathogens, and remaining things bactericides they kill bacteria. No need to mention here. Fungicides obviously kill fungus. Herbicides kills the unwanted or weedy plants which are grown in the crop fields, and nematicides kills the nematodes. So there are some chemicals which are toxic to most forms of life, and these are used as sterilants or disinfectants and fumigants. So in order to eradicate pathogenic organisms prior to planting. But what is an ideal chemical? How can you say that yes, this is an ideal chemical? It should have certain properties. So an ideal chemical control should not injure the plant structures, exhibit minimal hazards to animals and humans. They should not exhibit allergic reactions neither to humans or to animals. So, ideal chemical control should be chemically stable and persistent relative to harvesting requirements of the crop product, but not so persistent as to cause residue management difficulties. They should also offer little chance for pathogens to develop resistance, and they should permit accurate and effective application to the crop or plant material. All these qualities, if a chemical is having, then it is considered as an ideal chemical in order to control the diseases in plants. But we need to remember that all these characters are difficult to have in one single chemicals. Hence, there are numerous and varied range of chemicals in the form of bactericides, fungicides, etc. So herbicides. Herbicides, these are chemicals which manipulate or control the undesirable vegetation. It may be weeds. So herbicide application occurs most frequently in row crop farming, where they are applied before or during planting in order to maximize crop productivity by minimizing other unwanted vegetations, that are minimizing the weeds. So herbicides also may be applied to crops in the fall to improve harvesting also. Herbicides are applied in two conditions. Those are before pre-emergent and post-emergent herbicides. So pre-emergent herbicides are usually sprayed to grasser weeds and broadleaf weeds. Post-emergent weeds are selective and non-selective types. So here you can see uh, when the herbicides glyphosate or dicot or tebuthioron or other herbicides, if they are sprayed, so through what they are translocated into the plant. So this glyphosate is translocated, if it is foliar sprayed, it is translocated through phloem, and dicot is a contact herbicide, and metsulfuron, pichloram, and or other herbicides, if they are foliar sprayed or if they are mixed into the soil, the uptake is by xylem and phloem, and if herbicide tebuthioron is mixed in the soil, the uptake is via xylem. This is the list given by Government of India, Ministry of Chemicals and Fertilizers. So this is long, the list goes on. It's a very big list, but of course to cut short, I have only chosen very few herbicide and mentioned here. So these are the list gives you the examples of herbicides and the crops and the weeds which against which these herbicides are used to kill. An example like Anilophos 30% EC. This is used in sprayed in paddy field, and in the paddy field these are all the weeds present. So few of them to name here can be Cyprus aurea, Eclipta alba, Echinochlorocolonum, etc., and many more. So another herbicide is atrazine 50% WP. These herbicide is sprayed in maize field, and these are all the weedy species like Tranthema monogyna, Digeria arvensis, Xanthium stromarium, Amaranthus viridis, Cleome viscosa, etc. Bentazone 4480 SL, it is spread in soybean field or crop. In this soybean crop, these are the problematic plants: Cyperus rotundus, Acalypha indica, Commelina bengalensis. To kill this or eradicate this, the herbicide sprayed in soybean crop field is bentazone 480 gram per liter. The list goes on, no need to worry about the list and the weeds, name of the herbicides. It is just for your information. Yes, there are disadvantages of these chemical herbicides. These affect the weed flora or vegetation of natural flora. These also affect the environment. These affect the human health, and these also affect the livestock, fisheries, and they increase the toxicity to the exposed plants or crops by herbicide residues. There can be shifts in weed flora observed if the herbicides are used, and the herbicides make some of the weeds resistant against herbicides. And of course, environment in lethality, the lethality will be increased in natural predators. There will be shifts or induced selection in soil microbes, and the water bodies will be contaminated, and livestock and fishes are also damaged by using this chemical herbicides. This induces toxicity leading to death of exposed aquatic life, and it induces toxic diseases to animals upon direct or residue exposure. And this chemical herbicide is a single big threat to the endangered species as well. That may be one of the reason which we are facing the more increase in the number of endangered species, if it is the animal or yes, particularly plants, weedy plants. And it affects the human health. That is, malformation of the embryos are seen, and there are disorders in the reproductive organs or the metabolism, and there is a loss of immunity when there is uptake of herbicide contaminated food, and there are liver and kidney malfunctions observed by the use of this chemical herbicide. Pesticides are another group of chemical control measures. So these pesticides, these are chemical compounds which are used to kill pests, including insects, rodents, fungi, and weeds. So these pesticides are used in public health to kill vectors of diseases such as mosquitoes, and in agriculture to kill pests damage the crops. So by nature, these pesticides are potentially toxic to other organisms, including human beings. Yes, of course, they need to be used safely and disposed of properly. There are three classes of pesticides. One is organochlorines, organophosphates, and carbamates. Organochlorines, popular example is DDT, and these organochlorines disrupt sodium or potassium balance of the nerve fiber, which forces the nerve to transmit continuously. So organophosphates, they operate through inhibiting the enzyme acetylcholine esterase, allowing acetylcholine to transfer nerve impulses indefinitely and causing a variety of symptoms such as weaknesses and paralysis to the pest. Pyrethroids are exonic excitotoxins, the toxic effects of which are mediated through preventing the closure of voltage-gated sodium channels in the axonal membrane. So the sodium channel is a membrane protein with a hydrophilic interior. So this hydrophilic interior is a tiny hole which is shaped precisely to strip away the partially charged water molecules from a sodium ion. There is a need to strip away the partially charged water molecules from the sodium ions, and this create a favorable way for sodium ions to pass through the membrane, enter the axon and propagate an action potential. So when this toxin, pyrethroids toxin, keeps the channel in the air open state, the nerve cannot repolarize, leaving the axonal membrane permanently depolarized, finally leading to the paralysis of the organism. Here, we can see that if the pest comes in direct contact with the leaf already previously sprayed by the pesticide, after some time it dies, and if the pest comes in secondary contact, it eats the complete leaf, it get ingested and it will die. And there are some of the pesticides, through the smell itself, these pests they recognize and they repel and they go away from the plant. And there are some pesticides which are fumigating in nature, and by these fumes these pests are killed, or else they are made to go away from the crop or the host. And there are some of the pesticides which attract the pest. These pests unknowingly ingest the pesticide sprayed leaves, and finally they will die. So this list gives you a few examples of pesticides and crops. Abamectin 1.990% EC is sprayed to the rows to which the red spider mites are infected, and alpha cypermethrin 10% EC is sprayed to cotton to which bollworms are infected. To eliminate or kill these bollworms, alpha cypermethrin 10% EC is sprayed to the cotton. And another pesticide is azadirachtin 1% EC is sprayed to tomato, to which fruit borer, that is Helicoverpa armigera, pose a problem. And to brinjal plant, fruit and shoot borer, that is Lucinodes orbonalis are infected. So to kill this pests, azadirachtin 1% EC are sprayed to both tomato and brinjal plants. Sphenoxyquin 10% EC is sprayed to tea, and to this tea plant, red spider mite, pink mite and purple mite, they attack, and by the spraying of this, all these pests can be killed. There are impacts of pesticides seen on human health, particularly pregnant mothers and children. There is a decrease or reduction in the economy, and there is a loss of biodiversity, and it has also impacts on water, soil and air. So if the human beings are exposed, they can cause fertility and reproductive issues, and they may induce diabetes, they may induce obesity and other degenerative diseases like Parkinson's disease, cancer, asthma, depression, anxiety, etc. can be seen in human beings. And particularly these group are sensitive. Pregnant mothers and children are sensitive, as exposure can cause disruption to their complete endocrine systems, and the children can face childhood cancers, neurodevelopmental issues and other disorders. There is a drain in economies. Pesticides cause illness and injury, resulting in lost work days. Exploitative markets keep farmers on the pesticide treadmill. Crops develop resistance, and incorrect use affects the yield of the crop. Yes, biodiversity is lost. Pesticides have been linked to the decline or reduction in the bees and pollinators, beneficial insects, other birds, even mammals, and also aquatic animals, and some of the non-target plants, etc. are reduced in population. Pesticides has impact on water, soil and air. The runoff contaminates, they join with the surface and groundwater, and some soil microorganisms and earthworms are poisoned. affecting the soil fertility, and there is a drift and volatilization contaminates air, rain, fog and fungicides. Another type of chemical control in order to control the disease management in plants. Fungicides are the major component of plant disease management, plants for agronomic crops. So these fungicides are applied to prevent or slow down the epidemics of disease caused by the fungi. So unlike the herbicides and the insecticides or the pesticides, these fungicides are used to kill insects and weeds. These are applied to form a barrier to protect the plant organs from infection. So that is called, these are used as a or act as a protectant or systemic. So there are two types of fungicides. One is protectant fungicides, another is systemic fungicides. So protectant fungicides, these are rarely and do not penetrate into the host tissues but act as barriers between the host and the pathogen. So this can be, protectant fungicides can be washed off by weathering, hence need not be applied during growing season to ensure protection from disease. Systemic fungicides, they constitute a major advance in chemical protection. These are non-phytotoxic compounds which penetrate into the plant surfaces and then translocated to other tissues where they are toxic. So these fungicides can control and eradicate established infection. Basically, fungicides, they frequently kill fungi by affecting only one step in a biosynthetic pathway. This unfortunately has led few microbes to develop resistance towards fungicide. So here we can see how the fungal cell is affected one by one by using this fungicides. So this outer cell wall is disrupted or affected by the use of dimethomorphs. So these dimethomorphs groups of fungicides, they affect the cell wall functioning, and this calligreen, that is potassium bicarbonate, affects the second layer of the cell wall, that is plasma membrane, the thin layer you can see here. Plasma membrane is affected by the spray of potassium bicarbonate. So the sterol synthesis is done in ribosomes. This sterol synthesis is affected by triazoles, by the use of triazoles, and the mitochondrial functions are affected by the group of fungicides, strobilurins and sulfur-based fungicides, and nucleic acid synthesis in this nucleus is affected by using the herbicide metalaxyl, and nuclear division is also affected by the fungicide thiophanate methyl groups. Quickly, to study the mode of action of this fungicide. So this mode of action defies how the product actually affects the fungus, separate from fungicide mobility, how the fungicide moves in the plant. Example, dimethylation inhibitor DMI or FRAC3 compounds, they inhibit a specific enzyme in fungi that is important in sterol production. Sterol is produced by ribosomes in the fungal ribosomes. So this FRAC3 or DMI, they inhibit the enzyme in fungi that is important for the sterol production. Yes, sterols are necessary in fungal membranes. Lack of sterols results in abnormal fungal growth. So another inhibitors, quinone outside inhibitors, QOI or FRAC2. These are strobilurins compounds. These inhibit mitochondrial respiration, stopping energy production and resulting in fungal death. So these fungicides effective on germinating spores and early fungal growth only. You can see the outermost cell wall of the fungus can be disrupted by polyoxin D fungicide, and the plasma membrane or the cell membranes can be disrupted by DMI, that is dimethylation inhibitor, and other inhibitors like dicarboxymides, fludoxinol, PCNB, etc. And the general cell constituents are also damaged by using chlorothalonil, sulfur and copper, and nucleic acid are disrupted by usage of this fungicide named mefenoxine. And this thiophanate methyl fluopicolide, this affects the microtubules, and mitochondrion synthesis is affected by quinone outside inhibitors and boscalid, flutolanil, etc. This is Ministry of Agriculture and Farm. So till now, whatever the list of the fungicides, list of the herbicides or pesticides we have seen in today's presentation, all those are referred from the Department of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare, Government of India. So here are the few examples of fungicides. The downy mildew and powdery mildew disease is caused to the grapes. If the fungicide azoxystrobin 23% SC is sprayed, and this downy mildew and powdery mildew disease causing pathogens can be killed. Similarly, fruit rot is caused to the chili, anthracnose and powdery mildew is caused to the mango, and late blight is seen in potato. So all these can be eliminated by using azoxystrobin 23% SC. So another fungicide is Captain 75% WP, and this can eliminate brown rot which is seen in cherry, and this Captain 75% WP can also eliminate damping of the nursery seen in nursery plants, that is cabbage or cauliflower, tomato, brinjal, chilies, beans and other ornamental plants. Carbendazim 50% WP, if sprayed to the wheat, it eliminates loose nut, and if it is sprayed to tapioca, that eliminates the disease set rot. So there are several examples mentioned here as a fungicides. Nematicides. So nematicides are the chemicals which are used to kill nematodes. Nematodes are non-segmented invertebrate animals. Typically, these are very small, measuring from 300 to 1000 micrometer in length, and in width 15 to 35 micrometer, and sometimes they are up to 4 mm long. So nematodes possess a relatively small anatomy, that is tube within a tube. These nematodes are characterized as limbless, cylindrical and elongated animals. Today, the main phytopathogenic nematodes in economic terms are Melioidegus species. So these are root knot nematodes. These causes root knots in the host crop plants. So followed by cyst nematodes, Heterodira and Globodira species, root lesion nematodes, Pratylenco species, the burrowing nematode, Rhadophilus similis, and the stem nematode, Dictylengcus diptychii, etc. In nematodes, the parasitism occurs by the insertion of stylet. So the stylet is a spear-like structure attached to the mouth of the nematode. So when the stylet get inserted into the plant tissue, the parasitism starts. The nematodes can trigger two kinds of symptoms, that is direct symptoms such as there is a reduction of root mass and there is a distortion of root structure, and also enlargement of the roots is seen in these direct symptoms. So in indirect symptoms, there is a deficiency in absorption of water and nutrients is seen in infected. So this is the list of some of the nematicides. So there are three groups of nematicides. One is organophosphorus, methyl carbamate and isothiocyanates. So most all organosulfurous compounds Cadophos, Nemacher, Ethotroph, Phenamipos, Phorate are different common names of the organophosphorus, and these are sprayed to these plants which are infected by the nematodes, particularly cotton, potato, coffee, sugarcane, again banana, melon, tomato, peanuts, wheat, rice, etc. are treated by using this nematicides. That is it about the chemical controls taken in plant disease management. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe and press the bell button to get the notification about my new upcoming videos. See you in the next video lesson. Bye.